Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
To, just get what I want for it. And that also kind of opens up a can of worms. Right now, I am looking at the best options for the threshold portion. And it's a project in New England, so it gets cold and so forth. And snow and et cetera, et cetera. So the other thing I'd mention is that it has side lights as well. So I know there's plenty of products that are right at 36 inches, for a single door type thing. And I need something that goes the distance as to span the door and the two side lights. But adjustable saddles and fill technology for the door part. So I'm just not exactly sure how to start searching for exactly what would suit this job. And it's so what's on the house now is about like the saddle is about 60, well, to be exact, like 62.25 inches. And so that includes the side lights. And it's a beautiful old English door, black in color. So we're looking at either black or bronze. It could be, a high luster brass-like finish, or black. So those are kind of the parameters, and so it's kind of a legacy door. So we don't really want to go with the Home Depot special.
Well, the only parameters you've given are a couple of color options. What type of threshold do you want? Well,
I've given you, let me go over some of the parameters that I feel, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. So parameter 1, I need something long enough.
Okay, length, sure. That's no problem.
Right.
Length is no issue. What's the function of the threshold? What is its shape? What would be a term that you would use to describe the cross-section of the threshold?
Well, that's why I'm calling, because there's so many different options. I mean, could there be an interlocking threshold? Yes. Will that drive the cost so much, in a bronze or a brass that it's hard to justify? Or are the interlocking systems only for like a 36-inch door, but it's as that kind of cove and interlocking system, I don't know if it works along a continuum, to include side lights and so forth. There's so that's a question for me, but I know there are, positive mechanical seals kind of profiles. But that I'm sure, like in New England, it would be appreciated, but I don't know if that's possible or not. I'm another parameter is I'm interested in a composite substrate, if that's how some of these are sold. I know some are, but I don't know what you carry. Sometimes the metal work is on top of either wood or composite.
So the first part, if $150 a foot is not what you had in mind, then that puts architectural bronze to the side. Mm-hmm. That's the first fork in the road.
Right. Okay. I mean, I think so. I'd need 3, 4,
It'd be 6 feet.
Yeah.
You know, interlocking thresholds are great. They're extremely effective. They're time tested. It's 19th century technology, but they work. I'm from Chicago, so I'm no stranger to extreme weather. I now live in southern Florida. I'm no stranger to extreme weather, so I get it. The problem with interlocking is it doesn't do much with it for an R value, nor if you put a hose on it, is it going to really keep the water out. But it sure does seal the door. Now, if you're going to use an interlock, I would probably run the mullions long, or you would create your side light so that you have a sill and not run the threshold completely the width and then run your side light, your mullions down on top of the threshold. We've built doors either way, and it does kind of, in my mind, it's based on what threshold you're going to use.
Right. So just so I understand, you're saying that one way of integrating a fill system is to run the vertical mullions down and have, I guess, like 3 separate sections of the threshold, or?
You could, but what you would consider doing is just creating yourself a sill. So your side light is going to have a whatever top rail dimension, it'll have a style dimension, and it'll have a bottom rail dimension, just as if it was a door. And then you're going to seat all that down. And then the threshold would only be in the door between the 2 door rabbets. Or or you could take an adjustable top threshold that would be aluminum over a natural product. Our manufacturer discontinued synthetics probably 5 years ago. And I don't know why. It could have been volume. If I was going to proceed, I would probably polyurethane that pine underneath there extremely thoroughly. And I think that would really put you out at decades before you'd have a problem. And then you run that between the outside jams, and then you run your mullions, and you cut them to match the profile of the top of the threshold. Is what you would do. And that would be the other way to do it, because then your threshold becomes that bottom structural member of the entryway.
So I like what you're saying about these, alternative ways of thinking about building a door, as opposed to just one giant complete unit with the threshold that spans 6 feet, and it just gets put in the rough opening. What you're saying, I feel like it opens up the possibility of looking at a 36-inch threshold, that just is for the entry door itself, right? And the side lights is, it's on a sill that is, is built.
That you build. Yeah, you build. It's basically your jam. Right. Yes, sir.
Right. And so with that, I think, I'm interested in. So you said it was 100. What was the price per linear foot on the architectural bronze or brass?
Just throwing a number out there, 150 a foot.
Okay, 150 a foot. Okay, so 3, 450. And then what would be? I know nothing can match that, really. It's like nothing matches the touch and feel of this, architectural bronze. But what would be something of an alternative for, just the robustness and potentially beauty factor under the $150 per foot option?
Nothing. There's nothing between aluminum and solid brass.
Right. And is that solid brass, it's shipped without a substrate?
Definitely, yeah. There's definitely no, there's no wood or anything underneath there. It's just a piece of extruded architectural bronze. It's an alloy of 4 primary base materials.
Mm-hmm.
So, there could be a water pan, a thin piece of brass sheet metal that if you go with a tall enough threshold, it'll act as a water return principle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there's literally nothing below it.
Right. Everything else is aluminum and let's see. Well, I'd like to take down a part number, and I'll think about this cost factor. I know what I'd like to do. Is it a $450 purchase? I'm not sure yet. But what would be something I could look at that would be that architectural mill brass?
Sure. So this is definitely quite a deep dive kind of thing. But a typical one, the one that you'd see in Chicago all the time, interlocking.
And I have to say, it doesn't have to be interlocking. It's just something I've heard about. Currently I do have a pretty beefy weather stripping underneath that with a good adjustable saddle, is pretty tight.
Yeah, well, you have to decide how you're going to seal the bottom. With an in-swing door, obviously putting a door sweep on the outside is not very elegant. You could incorporate since you're building it, you could incorporate a mortised automatic door bottom that will seal automatically every time the door is closed. And then you could add a drip cap outside to keep that water from getting to that barrier. But the answer to the question is one that you'd see all the time would be a 145B as in Bravo.
145B. Okay.
Yeah. That's an extremely common interlock. And when you use that as a starting point, you can go taller, you can go shorter, you can go wider. You can go a little narrower as well.
And so if I search on your website, just 145B, something will come up?
Yeah, something will.
45B. Okay.
And when you do that search, you're going to need to go to the second to last page of that search result. The second to last page.
They have like over 14 pages here, so.
Just go to page 12 actually.
Okay. Okay.
And then scroll down.
PEMCO. Let's see. 12. Okay, scrolling down. Okay. 145B. Okay, interlocking. I see. Okay. And so the price is adjusted when you select the length, like after you buy now, or?
No, you just, as you scroll down that page, you'll see 145Bs and you'll see two digits after that.
Gotcha.
That's the length.
Okay. I see. Okay. Okay. All right. And
I would opt to make the paramount objective at sealing the door.
Yeah.
And, a door sweep doesn't elegantly seal the door because if it's on the outside, it's going to prematurely wear,
right.
Because you're dragging it over the threshold. Interlock is really good. It's sure going to keep, the brute force of howling wind out, et cetera. But you'll have, for in-swinging doors, I really like automatic door bottoms because they give you an absolute nice seal. And I mention it again because you said you're building your unit. You can have what you want. You might even go so far as to rabbet the door edge to give you interlock at the header and the two jambs as well. That usually exceeds the skill set of a modern carpenter. And I'm not putting you in that group. But if you are able to rabbet that door edge, then you're able to use interlock all the way around.
I see. Interlock all the way around. Okay, so there's a set, I guess, that I would put all around for it to kind of rabbet or dovetail in the opening.
Yeah, using right. Just
Okay, I'm just writing this down. And then I guess while I have you, I'm fully going to investigate this $400 option. But I know there's no middle ground, but of the products that you have that do not fall into this, category of quality, is there a product that you like or would recommend that you sell that does a pretty good job?
If it was me, I probably would not use an interlock. I would probably use a saddle threshold, and I would use an automatic door bottom with a drip cap on the outside. Is likely how I would do it.
And what's an example of that on your? If I were to search,
Yeah. Let's look at. S as in Sierra, 205A as in Alpha.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna search that as S205A. All right, and I have 2 pages.
Yeah, just the first one would work. It's showing you a profile. That's a saddle threshold. The variables are width and then height. Something low to the floor. You can run your door longer. You can put a door sweep on the inside. You can, or you can use an automatic door bottom. It's not a real. They're not high, so you don't have a 1-inch tall kind of step over that you'll see in a lot of installations.
Right.
You're really reliant on some barrier to keep the weather out.
Okay, so and does this have an adjustable? Oh no, it wouldn't have an adjustable saddle because you're saying combine that with a mortised automatic door. Stop. Okay. And does this come in? What are the color options?
So Reese, that company does have some that are in black. You would have to come up with the ideal size, and then I'll let you know what we can get in black. Black is very popular. It's interesting because black was extremely popular 100 years ago. It's always been popular, just except in the 90s and early 2000s. And once we have an idea of that, we can look and see what can be done in black. And you can kind of work with a blank sheet of paper in terms of size, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. All right. And does this all drop ship, or if I order through you, does it come from Florida or?
Probably going to come from Florida. Yeah, and you're going to want to leave lots of time, like a month. Plan ahead. Because
that's why I'm asking.
The last minute stuff is your needs are not going to be met if this is last minute kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to look at these two options, and I really was just thinking about the costs. differential. But this has been helpful, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Belt and suspenders approach is always good when it comes to weather stripping. Avoid anything that is reliant on adhesive. That's going to be something you'll replace sooner or later, especially in New England. Are you actually building the door?
Yeah, it's all built. I mean, it's getting primed right now.
Oh, okay. It's too late for rabbiting door edges. Okay.
Well, it's possible actually. It's just the panels are being primed and everything. It's a whole Morris and tenon kind of medieval door. So it's still in their respective pieces before the panels get slipped in. So I it's possible to do a rabbit, but
so I imagine you can still determine a net height. Your stiles are probably long, and you're going to trim all that. Okay. So definitely don't size the door at all until these decisions are made, because once you size the door, you are locked into a particular height of threshold, and that will very much compromise the ability for you to choose from a full catalog.
I see. So because you're saying the distance between the bottom of the door and whatever it's sweeping over. Yeah.
The right. Clearance, the bottom of the door to the top of something. Now, the other advantage is if you were to try to run that door as long as possible, you could go to open the door, but then your flooring on the inside is the problem, and then you have to cut more of the bottom of the door off to get over the floor. Right. The nice thing about the automatic door bottom is, and I've mentioned it 100 times, and I don't intend to, except that it solves problems. You can run that door long, and because the seal is snapped up inside the door, you can clear that floor, or you can clear the rug or the mat behind the door. The kids leave the shoes in behind the door, or the adults do as well. I'm guilty of it. And then, I come home and push the door open. Now there's a shoe stuck underneath. They're pulling it off. It rips part of the seal off. That's with that automatic door bottom tucked up in there. It really is elegant because, you can kind of have the best of both worlds. So,
right. I have a couple in some of we have these media rooms that keep the sound in. Some are some are. I have one that's a mortise type that I put in, but also one that's flush on the front. But I don't want to see that. It's an easier installation, but similar idea. It like pushes some kind of piston or something, and then it drops the thing down.
That's exactly how they work. Yeah. It's that it's that simple. Very early 20th century technology.
Well, I'll consider those. What was that you mentioned? The first tip you led with, I didn't quite hear it, but if you don't remember, that's okay. It was after
drip cap.
Adhesive. Drip.
Yeah, have a drip cap for sure. Don't use adhesives. Or if you can mortise to the edge of the door, you can use a pile that will be inside of an aluminum holder. And then what's neat about those is you can kind of adjust the projection of that pile over time. It's awfully nice, though, and if they've already built the frame, it's too late for this, but to just use inexpensive kerfed-in style weather stripping, because it's very effective, it's very easy to install, and it's very easy to replace a decade later when it's fatigued. Right. That material is proven to be really good. But if they've already built the jam parts, it's probably too late for that.
Well, no, I have a 1/8-inch kerf provision to stuff some of that.
Oh, great.
Foam
an 1/8-inch kerf, and then it's just the reach. What's the dimension from the face of the door to the face of the stop when the door's at 90 degrees, in the closed position. Then you just pick one to fill that. That stuff's great. It's cheap. It's effective. There's more than one way to do it, but it's variations on the theme, and other ways are more complicated. 100 years ago they didn't have Q-Lon or kerfed-in style weather strip.
A lot of felt.
Yeah, felt or metal weather stripping. You know, you're in a mid 20th century commercial building, industrial building. It's going to be metal, steel with steel windows with typical plate glass, and there's just metal around it to seal it.
Right.
Hopper windows.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody loves them. They're drafty.
They are drafty, and they're kind of cool to pull those out of a building. Sure, they do look cool. They look amazing. Yeah. Check with me January 20th in Chicago. Check back.
Yeah.
Let me know that's working.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, again, thank you. I'm going to take this back to the computer and really see about the options and the money factor.
The advantage of the solid bronze is that it's that kind of thing lasts a century. There's the front doors of Chicago City Hall. If you've ever seen the Blues Brothers movie, at the end where they run into the big building, they're running into City Hall. Those doorways that they stepped over, those thresholds that were there then are still there today. And those things are just outrageously durable. And the other point is, if you're building a $5 million house, you're not putting in a $50 threshold. Right. So that's where that comes in as well. Durability aside, it's just a proportion of value.
Yeah. Well, it is appealing. It's an appealing idea. It's like this heirloom door, this 400-year-old white oak, that was taken from the property, and it's just like this big story. So that's why it's more of a pause to think about, should there just be a splurge on the threshold being somewhat heirloom as well.
Magnificent. Yeah. I mean, I say to that only if it serves the final purpose. Right. It sounds like it does, even if you got a saddle threshold that was solid architectural bronze. It sounds like that might be in line, but 10 dimes, they add up to $1 if you keep spending dimes.
Yeah. And what is the part number for just the saddle type in the bronze? I know the 145B is the whole interlocking thing. What about, just a non-interlocking version?
Yeah, let me pull something up here. You could do a 172B as in Bravo. That would be pretty typical.
Okay.
And then it's a question of what finish you want to do on that.
I'm thinking just like a bank or something. It's not bright. I think it would be a little distracting if it was really bright.
Well, you could leave it mill and it will patina with exposure to the environment. Any finish that you do on any threshold is going to be suspect to the pebble stuck in someone's shoe.
Right.
Whether it be, the good thing about that solid brass threshold is you want to spit shine, you want to put Brasso on it and bring it to a reflective mirror condition that you could shave in it. Yeah, you could do that. The Ritz-Carlton Hotel here in Naples, it's all brass thresholds and they spit shine them every day and it looks beautiful. But, you're not running a $1,500 a night hotel either. Right.
And there's so many different profiles. It's a floor closer or
sorry, I wasn't live on the site. Let's take a look. 172 Bravo.
Yeah.
Go to page 2, and then third item on. Probably the 7th item or so on page 2.
Okay. Okay.
And that's one's got some pictures on it too. You can see the actual item.
Okay, yeah.
That's what mill really looks like.
Gotcha. All right, so that's all right. So if I went with the 36, just for the door part, so that's 528.
And keep in mind, that's 6-inch wide. They come smaller. They come larger. They come narrower and wider. So a 6-inch is just the point is that's a saddle threshold. And so it's representative of the concept of saddle thresholds.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it looks good. And so so it's up to the builder to put some kind of treated pine or substrate in that underneath to secure it.
There needs to be a sill. Yeah, there has to be something down there. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Okay.
Well, you've got some work to do. My name is Richard, so let me know when you hone in on something.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Do you happen to know the dimension of that interior? The inside dimension where a sill would be. I don't see a drawing of it. It's really the only place where you would put something. It's overall 6 inches, but yeah, I don't see it. But
what dimension are you looking for?
So the overall is 6 inches, but where the sill is, or where there's some kind of substrate, I imagine is on the inside trough, so to speak. There's like two legs that, and I'm wondering what that interior dimension is.
Oh, you'd probably just scale it. I'm going to say something in the range of 1 3/4 inches, maybe between those two, approximately.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this looks really good. Actually, I like the pictures. That helps a lot. So I'm going to look at these and.
Also on that page on the left side, there's a video. So if you want to see it.
Oh, okay. Great.
Live.
Okay. Perfect. I'm going to do that right now. And thanks a lot. And I'm going to look at this video.
All right, sir. Best of luck.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.